right, hello. So, for you guys that don't know me, my name is Amber Pitacchio. I am married and have 3 boys who are very hyper and hard to deal with. At the same time, they're extremely smart and special, as I'm sure all of your children are to you. So, I am making this video to raise awareness for parents like me who are taking a little different route and aren't going with the mold that society and the world has created for our children and for the future of people in general. So with that, I'll start with, I have a 13-year-old, almost 13-year-old, almost 8-year-old, they're a few months away, and a just turned 5-year-old. The 5-year-old is already showing the same characteristics as the other 2, as far as just really not being into academics, math, reading, things like that. So I am now looking at different alternatives to help my child. And so first with this, I want to say, disclaimer, this is something that I am doing. This is not something I am recommending anyone do. I just want to share my story and I want to raise awareness, like I said, about what the different options could be. Okay, and as far as so far, what I'm doing is experimental. So far, I have had a lot of good, positive outcomes. So I will get right down to it. And I'm going to first start talking about my 13-year-old. He is what you would call maybe the cool kid, doesn't have a problem making friends, very talkative, very handsome, the girls like him, just, one of those guys. His brain is going way faster than his mouth or his hand even. So when the teacher is telling him things, he isn't interested. It's not interesting to him. If you were talking about a video game or, something that he, sports or something, he's all about it. He's on every single word. And so therefore, that is my argument of it's not ADHD, because that would be with everything, attention deficit disorder, or what they are now calling, the CDC is saying that it is called mental, behavioral, or developmental disorder. Okay, so we're always so quick to label things. It's MBDD. Okay, everybody's got to have letters and all that. If that was the case, he wouldn't learn how to do all these other things so amazingly and be so good at them, right? So to me, I feel like we have just created as a society, and if you look up, there is a social media guru. Truly, he's amazing. He is called Pete. Talks on this and makes videos about the fact that schooling hasn't changed, but everything else in the world has. So when we have children who are not doing well in, let's just use math as an example, because that is something that I struggled with greatly, and I did, it just caused so many issues in my life. So when you have someone that isn't great with some of the things that are, set into, you are either good at this or you're dumb, you're nothing, you're not going to be anything in life, how are you going to go to college, how are you going to do this, that whole mentality of, you can't be great if you don't know the basics in academics. Well, we know now that that's not true. We see that there are so many people, including myself, who didn't do great in school, who didn't go to college, who are now extremely successful and wealthy, and there's just, and it's just we're breaking that mold. It should be thrown out, and it's just really sad that we're still pushing this on our children. Now, until I personally can afford to get my children homeschooled or in a private school where I have more say-so and more pull, I have to deal with this, as well as the rest of you. So again, I'm going to try to raise some awareness and give you guys some of the tools and techniques that I am using. Disclaimer, I'm using it, it's working. It may not for everyone, but I figured I could get it out there. So we're labeling all these children with the MBDD. And according to the CDC, 1 in every 7 children, and then get this one, from the ages of 2 to 8 years old. 2-year-olds, really? Toddlers? Guys, come on, like that, like really? Ages of 2 to 7 years old have the mental, behavioral and developmental disorder. Disorder. What is the definition of disorder? The noun is a state of confusion. Okay? Confusion, mess, chaos, or disarray. Now, when I watch my child play a video game or play the piano, okay, there's a good one. My 13-year-old has been playing the piano for 4 years now. He takes lessons. He gets very frustrated with it. He wants to quit sometimes, but he doesn't, and he is amazing. He's writing music now. He can read music at a very high level. Now, this is the same kid that hates math, cannot do math. He's getting bad reports in school. He has issues with respecting the teachers, okay, because what is happening is his self-esteem is affected. His self-esteem is affected so greatly that he's lashing out to the teachers. He's the class clown, if you will, because he doesn't know how else to deal with it. His self-esteem is being beat down to such an extreme level, and there is nowhere for praise. So it's always this, don't do this, stop doing that. Now I said do that, now get on that and do that, to where he is literally taking it out on the teachers, and it's just this snowball effect. And he's even figured out, as well as what I did when I was his age, that if I misbehave, I get sent out of class and I don't have to participate and feel like a total loser idiot because I don't understand. Hey, cool, I get to go sit in some other class and not do any work. As much as that's happening and as sad as that is, it is what's happening, okay? I am 32 years old. When I was in middle school, I purposely did bad things, purposely would backtalk teachers. I would purposely storm out of class so that I could go and sit in school suspension or get suspended outside of school so that I wouldn't have to do the work and I wouldn't have to feel like such a loser, incompetent person. And I truly felt like I was the only one that was that way. And I just had my son tell me the other day that he is convinced that he is the only one in his entire class that doesn't understand when the math teacher is teaching stuff. And he feels like the math teacher gets frustrated because he always needs help, so he doesn't ask for help anymore. He just acts out to leave the classroom. Okay, so this is, I could go on and on with that. So you kind of get the gist of what's happening, and I lived it, so I feel total 100% empathy for my child, but at the same time, I am not going to give him any excuses for this. I'm not going to be like, oh, buddy, it's all right, you're just not good at it. Don't do it. That's not an option until I can get him homeschooled or into a different kind of school. For now, I tell him all the time, you got to do it, right? You got to do it. So I'm also going to throw this in right now before we go any further so you can shut the video off if you don't agree. But I also will back this up with proof and what's happening and the differences I've seen in my son and in my other son that we've been having issues with academically as well. So what I said to my oldest son, I said, listen, I'll make you a deal. Because there was a problem with us buying him things. Now, we all want our children to have what the other kids have. And I'm not one that's up to keeping up with the Kardashians by any means. We are a family, we try to be very organic, and we stay away from, like cable and stuff like that we have for years. And I find it to be amazing. It opens up time for actual productivity. We're not into, doing like a lot of the video games. We're a small amount of time for that kind of stuff. We don't sit around on the internet all day. We spend time with each other. We read. We clean the house together. We try to keep things old school, if you will. So with my son, I was finding it that I couldn't reward the bad behavior. Meaning, when his birthday came around, Christmas, when it was like time to get new stuff, new shoes, new clothes, it wasn't like I could just get him what he wanted because there was no other way to reprimand the bad behavior. So you're faced with this, like, but my kid needs this stuff. He wants it really bad. It's not fair. It seems like I'm always yelling at him, or I always am, correcting him. There's no room for praise because he doesn't ever earn it. Why should I buy him these amazing things and all this stuff for Christmas and his birthday, or when he needs a new pair of shoes, does he get the nice fancy, Nikes or whatnot? Or should I just get him some Payless shoes because he didn't really earn the $50 to $100 pair of shoes, but then you got all of his friends have it, and it's just a very, very hard place to be as a parent, especially when I am able to buy those things for my son. It's not like I can't afford it. I can, and I want to buy my son those things. I want him to have the nice things that maybe I didn't always have, right? So we want that, but at the same time, I want my son to earn it, and I want him to appreciate it, and I want him to see that not everything, you don't just get everything you want and act the way you want. There's obviously risk, reward, work, reap, sow, you work hard, you get what you want, you don't work, you don't get anything, right? So I'm trying to instill that in him, but how can you when in his own words, I just can't stop, or I try so hard, Mom, I can't, I try, I was good for 2 days, I swear, Mom, I did really good, but then I don't know what happened, I got really frustrated because I didn't understand. These are the things that the love of my life is telling me. You love your children so much, and so, you're faced with this, society says, oh, well, you gotta discipline them, and they have to get good grades, and this, that, and the third. Well, nowadays, things are changing, okay? People who didn't even get to high school are successful business owners and millionaires and everything else, and they're teaching others how to be millionaires. So we know now that this school stuff is not that important. It just isn't. It's, like you learn the basics of math and you learn how to read. Reading is important, but not when they're forced to read stuff they're not into. I can't even, to this day, I love to read, but I like to read what I want to read. I don't want to read something that somebody's making me read, and then I also see no point in it. I don't read for pleasure, I read for knowledge. I love self-help books, right? So like if you tried to get me to read like Catcher in the Rye, I probably couldn't. It would take me years to get through it because I would just keep putting it down. But then you give me The Compound Effect, or How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and I eat it up. And I'm someone that failed in school, I did horribly. I copied most of every year I passed because I copied my friend's work. It's kind of sad, but I did, and we shouldn't have to have our children doing that stuff. And I also had a horribly low self-esteem as a kid, all through middle school and high school and even some of elementary, because I didn't learn the times tables as like everyone else, and I, just little simple things that I would have learned eventually anyways. That's the point. They're gonna learn this stuff anyways. So the way I was treated, I felt so low and less than that, and this is pretty drastic, so, heads up here, advisory, but, I turned to really ugly, bad things in my life. I turned to drugs, I hung out with the wrong crowd, all these things to try to fill this void that really stemmed from school, just from the simple fact that my teachers just kept saying, what do you mean you don't understand, and why you didn't do your homework again, of things. It's just not, So, but what was I good at? I was really good at art. And what am I now? I'm a professional tattoo artist who owns my second very successful studio. I'm happily married. I have, amazing life. I have an amazing life. And I dealt with such horrible things, depression, suicide attempts at a very young age. And now, and all that stems from back to, just not being great at school. Come on, this is crazy, right? So now I'm seeing the same behavior in my son. We've done counseling. We've done, the one-on-one, we've done group counseling, we did play counseling. Obviously, there's a lot, right? As parents, it's so hard, and there's so much for us to take in consideration, and so obviously I don't take it personal at all when I see that somebody might say, yeah, I don't really want my kids hanging out with Emmett. Okay, you know what? That's fine, I get it, because I might say the same about somebody else's kid. We have to look out for our own, right, at the end of the day. So, what I have found, I feel like it's not only made a huge difference, okay? So now we're gonna get back to what I was saying is like, go ahead and, after you hear this, you might wanna just turn this off because it's a little out there, and I've already gotten a ton of flack from other parents, but they weren't me. I was my son, okay? Like I was exactly what he's going through now. My son went through self-harming. He was, cutting himself at the age of, 7 years old? Scene where everything is happy and everything's great. Like, so for him to be so stressed out about his own behavior and not being able to do good in school that he was like cutting himself and acting out and crying a lot and screaming and slamming doors and just a lot of violent behavior, this was all stemming from him not doing good academically. So, again, the MBDD, the disorders, all these disorders, he was diagnosed with ADHD, all that stuff. And the verb for it is to disrupt the systematic function or arrangement. Systematic. We all need systems. Systems are amazing and good, but everybody needs a different system. I cannot work off of the exact system that someone else might be able to work off of. So to sit here and say that disorder is to disrupt the systematic function of something isn't really fair when we're talking about everybody might need a different system, right? So what I have introduced, I'm going to get to you guys in a minute what kind of a deal I've made with my son so that I can continue to buy him things. I can continue to reward him with trips. Like this weekend, we're going to SeaWorld. We're going to see a Lecrae concert, which if you guys aren't familiar, look up Lecrae. It's another thing. I am trying to gear my son towards more positive music. iPod, and you don't put any different music on it. I check it every once in a while. That's the music you get. Learn to like it, figure it out, or you can listen to the radio. But we make our little deals. I'm not that parent, no, don't do this, don't do that. You can't do that. It doesn't work. It didn't work for me. It doesn't work for anybody else. I just snuck around and did it anyways, right? And he's gonna do the same thing. So instead, I'm supplementing, right? So instead of just saying, don't listen to that, I'm saying, here, listen to this, check this out. And there's music videos, all kinds of awesome stuff with it. So another thing, there's called Cities, right? It's a website, smartkidswithld.org. Check it out. There's a lot of super awesome things. I made a deal with my son that if he can keep C's and D's, which are passing, because him and I talk about the fact that if he didn't have to go to school, I wouldn't make him, that we would do our own learning because we are entrepreneurs and we don't really need what society says that you have to be successful or even to be intelligent in this world, right? Which is school. Yeah, they teach you how to get a job. They teach you how to get up early. They teach you how to dress a certain way, teach you how to, listen to somebody that tells you what to do. And quite frankly, that's just learning how to be an employee or maybe a boss with a bigger boss above you, right? For the most part. It's not really ever going to teach them how to be an entrepreneur. And for children like mine, it's going to be the only option. And it breaks my heart to see them so greatly affected and dealing with depression in the way that they are for such a dumb thing. It's just stupid. So the first part is my son and I have agreed if he keeps C's and D's, nothing lower, and I want them to be higher D's. They cannot be just barely D's. They have to be higher D's and C's. I don't care if the whole report card is C's and D's, okay? I mean, you gotta imagine me and him been going back and forth for, since like the second grade about this, okay? So C's and D's means he still gets to go out with his friends when he wants. Clothing, shoes, the kind of stuff that he wants. C's and D's means we get to go to Orlando and we get to go do fun things. We get to go to Miami. We get to do a bigger thing for his birthday instead of maybe just a small get together, right? So the reward, the whole, show me and I will give you. Show me what you got and I'll give you what I got kind of thing. Meet me in the middle. So I learned with my son that constant, you gotta do this, you gotta do, it just doesn't work. It just breaks him down, beats him down, and affects his self-esteem, and then that rolls over into everything else, and next thing I know, I have an angry, depressed child. We have agreed if he can keep C's and D's, he will still get all the material crap, not all, because I don't believe in spoiling your child either. He will earn his stuff, he'll do chores, he'll earn money, this, that, and the third. But when it comes to certain things that before I just wasn't doing much at all for him because he wasn't doing well in school. But I was finding that that's all it ever was. I was never able to do anything for him. So we've agreed on that. His self-esteem has gone through the roof. I have a totally different child. The second part of that agreement, though, is that I am to be in contact with his teachers, and his teachers must tell me that he is trying. Ever heard of like A for effort? Well, I want to see A for effort across the board. I want to see respect. I want to see that when their teacher tells you to be quiet and sit down, you're going to do it whether you have a clue what's going on right then and there or not. You're going to sit down and you're going to pay attention because that's all I care about. That's all I'm asking you to do, right? So those two things, passing grades, and I want to see that you're at least trying. You're not just, lollygagging around, doing whatever you want, I don't care, mom says I just gotta barely pass. Because for my kid, unfortunately, to get C's and D's, he's gonna have to work. He still has to work. He's still gonna put his best foot forward. And now that I know that asking of C's and D's is not letting him slack off and not giving him an excuse. So, two major things. First, C's and D's, minimum, respect, respect, respect. I want to hear that your teachers are saying that you're actually trying, that you are actually completing all of your assignments. You're actually completing them. You're actually trying. You're asking questions. You know, this, that, and the third. You can kind of fill in the blank, you know, however you would with your child. So with those two things alone, I've been doing those for a couple months, I have seen such a huge, I mean, you just go from like literally crying because you're so sad for your own child, because you don't know what to do. You're only disciplining, you're only reprimanding, and it's just so sad that you feel like that's all you're doing. It's never praise because they don't do anything to praise. So now I can praise him for the C's and the D's. I can praise him, and when his teacher says, oh man, you know what? He was excellent. These last few weeks, he has been excellent, which is what I've been hearing from them. So it's huge. It just feels so good. It feels great. As a parent, I feel accomplished. I feel like we're actually getting somewhere. So, second major thing that we have now implemented that I'm so excited to share with everyone, because we just started it, but it's already made a huge difference in just simply presenting it to them, in both my 8-year-old and my 13-year-old. It's changed everything just presenting it to them, okay? So I ordered this. They also offer an academy, and that was also very inexpensive, and it's something that your children can do online, similar to something like an adult could do, like an entrepreneurial academy to learn how to do different businesses. They have like academies, you know, now, so, which I'm a part of a few. So I thought when I saw this, that they had something like that for kids. Oh my gosh. So let's see if we can get this in there. Kidpreneurs. All right, guys, check it out. Kidpreneurs. For young entrepreneurs with big ideas. I will leave the link below. Actually, I'll leave the link for everything that I've talked about as far as any of the informational stuff that I've talked about. But I do have to share this book. Very simple. Each chapter has a small quiz at the end. And then the quiz states that if you don't ace it, you want to reread the chapter. And the chapters are simple, not too simple, but simple enough. Like with my 8-year-old, I do have to read it with him, even though he's a great reader. He's a good reader. He doesn't like math. He likes to read. Emmett is like, he doesn't like kind of either. So with this, not only is it for kids, but it's for kids like mine. It's for kids that just aren't ever going to be great with math and reading and you know, all the stuff that they say that you're not going to be anything if you're not good at. So this book says otherwise. And it was written by two brothers, Adam Torin and Matthew Torin, you know, and they're entrepreneurs. And, you know, here's like a little picture of them and then a real picture. But again, I'll leave the link. But this book, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. My kids and I, we've been going through it. They're so excited. They're always now, it's just, bottom line, their self-esteem, their enthusiasm, their personality, just everything about them is positive. It went from negative to positive, like amazing. It's just been amazing. I believe it's a New York Times bestseller as well, but it actually gives lots of examples on different things that kids can do at all different ages, both physical and online, which is really cool because some kids, you know, don't really want to go out and do physical stuff, and that's okay. You know, some people don't. Some people are CEOs of huge businesses, and that's okay. They don't go out and do the construction work themselves like some people that are also successful do. So this book covers both. So it's really awesome. Like I said, I'll leave the link below. Definitely check it out. It has done, you know, at least a 180 with my children and our lives. It has made things easier, and it is totally worth checking out. So I will make an update video in the next few months and see where we're at and see what kind of avenue that my kids want to take as far as being an entrepreneur and starting even making some money right away. I mean, what's better than that? Your kid making money and doing what they love and learning how to be successful in a hands-on, real world way, the way that the world is really working, and not the way that society says, or the way we've been, conditioned to think. It's just not the way it is, right? So statistically, we're just not doing it. It's just not happening. It's not. All right, guys. So check out the links below. Give this video a like and a share. I appreciate it. And to everyone out there as a parent that's struggling, there are ways. There are ways. Don't give up. Your kids deserve it. They are our future. We got to do this. We can do this. And together we can do it.